Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Installment Scott Selections here for Saturday, August 14th. Before we get into today's play of the day, quick recap of what happened yesterday. We ended up giving out a look-ahead play on the Saturday NFL preseason card. So not much to recap because that game hasn't happened yet. But if you do want any play on football taking place on Saturday, check out the video before this one because the line has not really moved that much since I made it, and it's still obviously available. So check that video out. But if you want another play for Saturday, that's going to take us to today's play of the day. We're going to be looking at baseball. Going to be a matchup between the Cubs and the Marlins taking place at around 6 p.m. Eastern time. And for the play of the day, we like the Cubs and Marlins over 7.5 runs at -120 on DraftKings. Time recording of 3:30 a.m. Eastern time. Covered reasons why I like the over in this spot. First of all, 7.5 is a very good line. Simply shopping around, every other book that I could find access to had 8, but DraftKings still has 7.5. Now, I know it is still juiced to the over at -120, but I do like the extra half a run there of value because I think that there's a decent chance this game could land 8, and I want that to be a winner instead of a push. But looking at the pitching matchup, you can tell that this number seems to be a little bit too low. The Cubs have Zach Davies on the mound. Now, overall this season, he's not been good. 5.26 ERA, but he's been even worse over his last 2 outings. Last 2 starts, 6 innings pitched, 14 earned runs, and he's been consistent in those 2 because he has allowed exactly 7 earned runs in each of those 2 starts. Plus, Davies had 1 start against Miami earlier this season, 6 innings pitched, 8 earned runs. So I do think there's a chance that he's going to struggle against Miami after the Marlins scored 14 runs yesterday and 7 runs in the game prior. So Miami's actually been hitting the ball pretty well lately, and I do think that Davies is going to struggle in this spot. But looking at who's pitching for Miami, you have Zach Thompson. Now, Thompson has a solid overall ERA, been pretty good this season. However, last 2 starts, he has been a little bit shaky. 8 innings pitched, 7 earned runs. So I do think Thompson is going to struggle against a Cubs team that did score 10 runs yesterday. But looking at the actual trends involving both teams, they have been involved in some high-scoring games lately. The Cubs, especially since this team cannot pitch, the Cubs have allowed at least 10 runs in each of their last 3 games. Meanwhile, 6 of Miami's last 7 games have had at least 11 runs. So both teams have been involved in some high-scoring affairs lately, and I do think you will see that trend continue, especially for a total of 7.5. At the end of the day, I think Davies gives up at least 5 in this spot because of how Miami's been performing lately, and the fact that Davies just isn't really that good based on his numbers this season, and the fact that with a very, very limited velocity on his fastball, I do think Miami should do a pretty good job of making contact with his pitches. And Thompson, I think, is okay, but I do think that the Cubs will probably score 3 runs against him. If not, the Marlins bullpen was awful yesterday, and it really has been average at best all season long. So I do think the Cubs should be able to break through in the last couple of innings because of the fact that Thompson really does not provide much length. And I think that if he goes 5 innings and pitches relatively well, there's a good chance the Cubs could break through for a couple with about 4 innings to work with against Miami's bullpen. But at the end of the day, 7.5 just seems too low. I feel like this total should be closer to 8 or 8.5. And for that reason, that's going to be the play of the day. So the play of the day, once again, here for Saturday, August 14th, is going to be on the Cubs and Marlins over 7.5 runs at -120 on DraftKings. Bye, everyone.